Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. So let's talk about a thing that's often a very hot topic in the reseller community. Something that in certain circles can actually get to be quite a heated discussion, and that's the idea of a summer slowdown. As the weather warms up and people start doing all their fun activities outside, some sellers think they see a slowdown in their actual sales. Hence the summer slowdown. This will be my third summer as a reseller and my second full time. And even though I've seen a little bit of a slowdown the last couple of weeks, on certain days, it doesn't necessarily mean that my sales have slowed down altogether because I'll have a really good weekend or one really good day and it just kind of makes up the difference. So I'm not sure about the theory yet. I don't know what my opinion is. Our first item going out today is this vintage orange fly swatter that I picked up at an estate sale for 50 cents. It sold for $10. So like I said, I'm not sure if there's such a thing as a summer slowdown. I think that there can be, depending on what it is that you sell. This next item is a really cool item. I picked it up at an estate sale. It hangs on the wall and it holds your keys. I think it's a really neat little vintage piece. I was excited when I found it. It's got 3 little hooks on it, and it sold for $11.96 to our friend Tracy. She also purchased another item, and I'm heading in the wrong direction to grab it. She bought a CD, and this CD came from that yard sale where I bought like a giant moving box full of CDs. They were almost all used. So we went through and checked to make sure, they were clean and not scratched, but I only paid about a nickel a piece for those CDs, so I didn't mind marking them low, and I'm happy to see she got one that she wanted. This is Stevie Ray Vaughan and the Real Deal Greatest Hits. So like I said, I paid a nickel and she paid $3.96, got a pretty good price, and of course we'll combine the shipping. Thank you, Tracy. As always, we appreciate you. All right, our next item going out is something I don't typically pick out. I don't buy a whole lot of Barbie dolls, especially in the boxes, but when I saw these at a yard sale, I made an exception because they're tiny. I don't like storing Barbies in their boxes. They take up a lot of space, and I don't readily carry a box that they fit into, so I try to avoid them unless it's a stupid good deal. But I couldn't resist this little Kayla Barnum's Animal Crackers lion. I think that's an absolutely adorable set. I actually got 2 of these tiny little Kayla dolls, different styles, at the same yard sale, paid $1 a piece, and this one sold for $12.71. So I think for people like me who sell a little bit of everything, which really isn't true. I don't really sell everything, but I sell a lot of things. I think people like me have less of a chance of seeing a summer slowdown because I think almost everybody could shop through my store or walk through my storage unit and see something they think is interesting and that they'd like to have. And that's why I think having a diverse inventory is awesome. This is a Dimensions New Old Stock Cruel Pattern kit that we got in an estate sale. I only paid 50 cents for it and it sold for $16.96. I remember that sale very well because they had a bunch of those types of kits, but I had to look carefully because a lot of them had already been started, so I thought they might be missing pieces, so I only took the new ones. Now we have a book going out, and this book is called The Big Valley. I remember this estate sale that I got it from very well. It was my first estate sale I went to that was hosted by my favorite company. The one that lets me fill a bag, and I filled like 3 totes at that sale, and I was so nervous about what the price was going to be checking out. I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough cash, and he only wanted $20, and I thought he was making some sort of mistake, but when we went back the next time, I only paid like $10. So I go to those sales anytime I can get a chance. I paid $0.25 for this book. It sold for $7.96, and of course that $0.25 is kind of based on how much stuff I fit in the bags, how many items I took out, and just kind of roughly guessing what I paid per piece, which is also what I did with the Creative Memories buyout I did down in Florida. We cleared out a whole inventory. Thousands of pieces of Creative Memories stuff, still sealed. She must have been a dealer. That's all I could think. She had to have sold it. And these black 12 by 12 pages were part of it. I paid $0.25 a piece for all the items at that sale. This sold for $15.95. So yeah, I'm not entirely sold on the idea of a summer slowdown. It makes sense that if people aren't spending as much time indoors and looking at their phones, sales could decrease. But I really think your inventory helps determine if your sales continue or not. If all you sell are winter clothes and winter sporting gear, probably going to see a pickup in the winter and slow down in the summer. This is an interesting piece we got in an estate sale. So it's a combined joint task force flask that we picked up at an estate sale. The flask was $1, but then in the cabinet we found a matching shot glass, and it was only a quarter. So I have $1.25 into these, and they sold for $29.95 as a set. I also think people see a summer slowdown because they themselves are working less in the summertime. They're taking advantage of the nice weather, and resellers spend more time outdoors doing other things, going to concerts, whatever it is that interests them. And that might also be the slowdown because they're probably putting less effort into their store. This is a vintage swank pair of cowboy boots bolo tie clip. We bought it yesterday, listed it this morning, sold within an hour. I paid $2, it sold for $12.71. So everything cost me $6.80 in this video, and they all sold for $122.16, which is 18 times our money. And that is not including the shipping the buyer paid, but it does include the eBay fees. So this is pre-eBay getting their cut. But still a pretty good day of sales. Let me know in the comments what you think about the summer slowdown. I'm heading to the post office. We'll see you soon with another video of what's sold.